In this Warframe guide, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about Archon Shards, which is the new upgrade mechanic that was introduced with the Veilbreaker update a couple of days ago. We're gonna go over what Archon Shards even are, how you get them, and most importantly, how you use them to elevate your Warframe into unknown heights. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. First of all, what are Archon Shards really? If you haven't heard about it already, Archon Shards are an upgrade mode on top of the modding system that we already know, and it was introduced with the new Veilbreaker update that launched a couple of days ago, so if you haven't installed it yet, now would be a perfect time to jump right back into the game. And the best thing about it is they can make your Warframes insanely strong, way stronger than they were before, and give them some really nice stat boosts. So the obvious question would be, how do you get the whole thing going? In order to use the Archon Shard system, the first thing you gotta do is finish the Veilbreaker quest, which also launched with the update. So we go to the codex, select the quest, and get going. If you don't have access to the quest yet, that's probably because you haven't finished the new war quest yet, which will be accessible as soon as you have the quote-unquote main storyline done. So if you're still in your Star Chart playthrough, I suggest you simply get going and then you'll be here in no time. Once you've finished the Veilbreaker quest, which is actually not too difficult and should not take you more than like 45 minutes or something, you will get an inbox message from Daughter and she will give you a new helmet segment. Go to the foundry, build the segment, the resources that are needed for it will mostly be acquired from the Zeraman 10.0 missions, and once you have it done, you can go to your helmet chair, sit down and you'll see that there's a new button called Archon Shards, hit that, and now you're in the Archon Shard menu. So how does this whole thing work now? In the top right corner you see how many of the 3 types of Archon Shards you currently own. Then in the middle you have 5 slots into which you can insert 1 Archon Shard each. If you hover over your mouse and then click one of the Archon Shards, you will see which buffs this type of Archon Shard can give you. The blue ones, called Azure Archon Shards, which is a tongue twister for me, like no other, believe me, are more on the defensive side of things. They can give you more health, more max energy, more armor, health regeneration, or more shield. The yellow Amber Shards are going more into health, energy, economy, and casting speed, which is kind of nice. And as the color suggests, the red Crimson Shards are all about damage and power strength, increasing your melee damage, your status chance, your critical chance, ability strength, ability duration. If you want to be stronger and get the big numbers, you're gonna go for the red ones. One thing I need to mention is Archon Shards don't work like mods. If you slap one Archon Shard on one Warframe, you cannot put the same Archon Shard on a different Warframe. However, if you want to take an Archon Shard away from a Warframe, you can do that without breaking it. They're not focus lenses, thank God. You simply have to invest a bit of helmet resources and then you can reuse it on a different Warframe. And that's already all there is to know about how the system works, which leaves us with just one question left. Where the heck do you get those shards? Once you finish the Veilbreaker quest, on the top right side of the screen in the Star Chart menu, you will see a new icon. This is the new weekly mission type, the so-called Archon Hunts. They basically work like sorties. They're a set of 3 missions that you have to finish in a row, the 3rd mission being the final showdown in which you fight the Archon, either alone or with the team. And of course, once that pesky Archon is finally dead, you have a guaranteed Archon Shard drop in the rewards. And if you're really lucky, like I was unfortunately not in my Archon hunt, you have a 20% chance that that set Archon Shard reward will be a so-called Tau forged version of the Archon Shard, which means that the buffs we saw earlier are doubled if you use that one. That's how you get the shards, and before we finish the video entirely, I want to give you 1-2 tips about how to slay these Archons really fast. So the interesting thing about Archon fights is they can take a crap ton of damage and they're very well capable of face tanking whatever you have at your disposal. Archons are immune to Warframe abilities, immune to armor strip, and what's even worse, you can only have 4 of the same status type applied on them at every given time, so there are no fancy heat proc shenanigans going on that you could abuse here. No, what you have to do with these Archon Hunts is you really have to dish out a crap ton of damage. Basically all that you do against Eidolons basically also works against Archons. For your Warframe choice, you might laugh, but I actually suggest maybe using Inaros, Revenant, or other so-called quote-unquote immortal Warframes, because when you're fighting the Archon, there will not be many enemies around. So if you have a Warframe whose survivability is solely relying on killing enemies consistently, this is not going to work. And believe me, these Archons do a lot of damage, so the best bet is going for a really tanky approach on your Warframe and with a lot of radiation damage on your primary weapon. I personally suggest a primer with maybe the Fenmore, which is a really excellent weapon for killing Archons, but also snipers, maybe even with a Riven that you might use for Eidolon hunts, work really nicely. One important thing to note is, if you're using a rapid-fire weapon, you're most likely gonna have ammo problems down the line because these Archons take so many shots and you're not gonna be able to refill since there are no enemy spawns really around them. So keep that one in mind. If you now want to know everything about the new Warframe Styanax who launched with the Veilbreaker update and how to make him insanely strong in Steel Path, then I suggest you strongly click this video here. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would be really happy if you consider to do so. This was your Blacky, over and out, and hopefully see you in the next video.